Everybody. It is wonderful to see so many folks jumping in. We are expecting lots of families to join us this evening. And we'll give folks maybe like a minute and a half to join. And so thank you again, everybody, for joining us this evening as we get closer to our school lottery for the 25-26 school year next week. My name is Roger Katz. I am the Director of Student Recruitment and Enrollment at Hebrew Public Charter Schools. And with me this evening is Dr. Amanda Ainley, our head of school at Staten Island Hebrew Public. We are super thrilled to see everybody this evening. And we'll give folks maybe just 30 more seconds to join. And so while we are waiting for them to join, I will remind everybody that we do have the chat feature open tonight. So Amanda and I are going to go over all the ins and outs of the curriculum and all the ins and outs of Staten Island Hebrew Public. But if you have questions while we're going through the presentation, we encourage you to drop them in the chat. And as we get to the end of the presentation, Amanda and I are going to do a little Q&A because we do want to make sure everybody gets their questions answered this evening. So again, feel free to drop them in as we make our way through. And it looks like if any other folks join, we'll catch them right up. But we would again love to jump right in. And so we did put together an agenda for you this evening. We'll go through some introductions. If this is your first time navigating the New York City public school scene, we'll talk a little bit about a charter school and some of the differences between charter schools and district schools. We'll talk about our school lottery, eligibility, and then we'll go through a typical school day for a student at Staten Island Hebrew Public. And then we'll also get into some of the other really important things like after school programming, yellow bus service, and everything in between. So I'm actually going to hand it over here to Amanda to introduce you to Staten Island Hebrew Public's amazing leadership team. And Amanda, I'll turn it over to you.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us here again. Just a quick introduction here. We have an executive director for our school on site at Staten Island, Michael Capitelli. I am the head of school, Amanda Ainley. We have Joanna Beck. She is our director of student support and operations to work closely with our students who receive special services, as well as our main office and facility. And Randy Schaefer as our academic dean, who supports me in coaching our teachers and working with our students. Next over, we have Suzanne D'Amato, who is our senior operations manager, executive coordinator, again, who works closely with the main office, ordering things, making sure all our books and curriculum are in for our students. Shanoya Belcher is our dean of culture and supports a lot of the culture work we have at our schools, school events, and working closely with our students. And Larissa Loco, who is our dean of Hebrew.
Amazing. We're very lucky at the school. We have a super robust leadership team at the school, and it's one of the things I think that really makes all the difference for our staff and for our teachers and for our families. So, like we talked about before, maybe you have navigated the public school scene or the school scene in New York, or maybe it is your first time. And so we did think it might be really beneficial to talk a little bit about what exactly a charter school is and just kind of provide a little bit of clarity there. And so I would say the big reminder for folks joining tonight is just remember, charter schools are public schools, right? We are tuition free. We are open to all. In charter schools, there are no admission requirements. There are no entrance exams or anything like that. Also, our enrollment policy is going to be a little bit different than traditional district schools. So, charter schools, students are admitted by a school lottery. We're going to talk a little bit more about the lottery in a second, and then again at the end of the presentation. But I think the big thing to also be aware of, and sometimes there can be a little bit of miscommunication, but it's important to remember charter schools are held to the same standards as district schools. We have to follow all of the same rules and policy and procedures. And while our enrollment policy might be a little different, we still follow all the same rules. schools, we teach to the Common Core, and everything like that. And so the other big thing I would highlight as well, and this can also be a little bit confusing sometimes for families, is applying to a charter school does not affect your chances of getting into any other school. So you could apply to every charter school, and in addition to applying to multiple charter schools, you can also use that My Schools app and rank the district schools you're interested in. So charter schools give families more choice to decide what educational option is best for their families. So, just to summarize again, the charter schools, you're not going to find them on that My Schools app. You're going to go to their individual websites typically to submit applications for them, and you can apply to as many as they want, as you would like, and they don't affect your chances of getting into any other charter school or any other public school. Additionally, just some important reminders as well in terms of eligibility and the deadline. So this is pretty much the standard across all charter schools in New York City. Typically, the deadline to apply, and this is certainly the case for Staten Island Hebrew Public, is to be eligible to be in our school lottery. Families must submit their applications by April 1st, 2025, 11:59 p.m. Any applications that make our way to us after that date will not be eligible for the lottery and they get moved to the bottom of the wait list. And then for us, we will be holding our lottery on Thursday, April 3rd. So that is a week from today at 12 p.m. Additionally, as we talk through the lottery in terms of some of the eligibility lottery priorities and preferences for our school, um, if we have more applications than we have seats available, we are legally mandated to hold a lottery, and we already do have many more applicants than we do have seats available. But we do have a set of lottery preferences. And so for us at Staten Island Hebrew Public, the first set of preferences go to students who may have a sibling that currently attends the school. After that, the next set of preferences are for families who live within the school district. So it's Staten Island is its own school district. So basically, if you live in Staten Island, um, that doesn't necessarily give you the biggest advantage, but it's the most fair way to do it. And additionally, for students for eligibility to kindergarten for the 2025-26 school year, student must be born in 2020. So for any 2021 birthdays, you'd be eligible for pre-K 4 in September, and you would have to wait one more year to apply to Staten Island Hebrew Public. So hopefully that provides a little clarity and a little insight into our lottery and our eligibility and enrollment policy. And if you do have any questions, like I said at the end of the presentation, we'll do some more Q&A and we can provide any clarity there as well. And so we thought it was also important as we make our way into learning a little bit more about typical school day for students is to talk about our mission, vision, and school values. And so we always do like to share this. So we are part of a larger network called Hebrew Public, and Hebrew Public charter schools are leading a national movement of exceptional public schools that teach children Hebrew from all backgrounds and prepare them to be successful global citizens. And so, because we are a school that teaches Hebrew as a second language, and we do put a big focus on the idea of global citizenship, we take the Hebrew word for world and we use that as an acronym to reflect our shared community values. So, all of our students, all of our staff, we are outstanding problem solvers, we are lifelong learners, we are aware communicators, and we try to make a difference in our community. And we always say, if those feel like values that resonate with you and with your family, we're 110% sure you're really going to fall in love with the school. So hopefully you've already come in for a school tour to see what instruction looks like, to see what a school day looks like for students. But I think our community values, is really like our North Star, and it really sets us all up for success. And so we're going to jump in a second, but we also thought, it would be really nice to share some pictures of our building. This is the artist rendition. So if you haven't driven by it on Father Capodanno, we're at 829 in Midland Beach. And I think we have some pictures coming up here from some of our classrooms. And you can see some of our students and some of the joy that happens in the school each day. Lots of fun here. This is Miss Belcher in class teaching. And this was from our Festasheer performance, like our big winter showcase a few months ago, where students got to sing songs for families, and that was always a very, very fun day for our community. We have some other ones here, and just a lot of joy in our classrooms and our school each day. And so, you got to see a little bit of joy there. But what we would love to do next is really just get into the nitty-gritty of our curriculum and what a typical school day looks like for students. And so, for that, I'm going to turn it over to Amanda, and we're going to do a deeper dive into some of our curriculum.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Roger. So, well, as Roger mentioned, we have a very strong academic program that really we want students to set up for success and kindergarten, first grade, really setting the foundation as well as embodying our alum values so that they are prepared as they reach those old upper grades of second, third, fourth, and beyond. So the first thing, a day in the life of a student. So we open our day with morning meeting, which is just a great way to get their mindset for the day, really make that connection to framing the day for them. We offer phonics for foundations. We have expeditionary learning for ELA. So they have 2 blocks of ELA. They'll also have 2 blocks of math. You'll see there we offer Eureka for our math curriculum and number stories for the intervention. They'll have science there. And then you'll see we have Hebrew. The students have a Hebrew class every day. And then they alternate with art, music, or physical education as their other special. So, really, a lot of that academic focus, but also that extracurricular kind of work through the arts as well. So, although we are a charter school, so as Roger opened up, different from some of the other school systems that you have, we still follow the New York State standards. So, for ELA and math, we ensure that they are aligned to the academic standards. And then we also use data from the MAP testing. If you have older children, you might have heard about this. It kind of is a way to assess their learning in the beginning, middle, and end of the school year. Our ELA curriculum for grades K to 3, which will be K to 4 next year, is for expeditionary learning or EL. It is super comprehensive and really research based, which is how we make all of our decisions with all of our curricula for our students. What I love most about EL is really the topics that get covered. The students now, they're learning about bees in our second grade. Our kindergartners are all about these trees and the leaves and how to keep things alive. And there's just so much rich content in it that really keeps the students engaged while teaching them about topic sentences, details. So a lot of social studies and science are incorporated through this curriculum, which is a great plus and a reason why I fell in love with it. For intervention in that K2 age level, we work a lot on phonics, and we do that through the curriculum called Foundations. And that really helps the students practice letters, sounds, spelling, sight words. So this is a really critical part of our day so that they can be successful when they enter their EL curriculum. So the Foundations program is really how we are teaching them that basic phonics. And when they get to third grade, most of them have aged out of needing that phonics support, but we do still know the importance of literacy. So our third graders also have an intervention, which is close reading. And that close reading really allows them to work on what we call our main idea and taking just shorter pieces of text and diving deep into them, the content around them, nonfiction, fiction, poetry. It's a beautiful way to have our students fall in love with reading. And we build that in addition to EL. For our math curriculum, again, standard based, research based, and it's called Eureka Squared. And that really engages in fluency routines, high quality tasks, problem sets. And really, what I love about this curriculum is it has the students talking. When you walk into a math class, you hear these mathematicians talking and engaging in dialogue with their peers using such rich vocabulary. Again, wanting them to find the fun in it and able to apply it to real world concepts. Outside of Eureka, we have a program called Number Stories. And these are three-sentence stories that we use to help students make connections to real life. So Amanda has, the funny picture, like Amanda has 12 watermelons and Roger has four more. How many does Roger have? And the teachers paint this like really pretty picture in the kids' minds about these situations. A class I walked into was Amanda had a basketball game yesterday. I'll use baseball, it's opening day. Um, Roger had a baseball game yesterday and had X amount of hits. The other team scored this many hits in the next inning. How many hits or how many bases at the end of the game? And it's just a beautiful way to bring kids into the story. Again, making them feel connected to the content.
And I would jump in here to say it's such a great way too to differentiate instruction for students, because as you can imagine, different students might have different strategies for solving a math problem like that, right? For some students in younger grades, maybe that's counting on their fingers still. It might be drawing a picture. It could even be just setting up a standard algorithm, right? And so I always love getting to observe and watch teachers lead students through those things, because different students can make different connections and see that sometimes in math class there's more than one way to solve an answer. So that's always like my favorite block to get to observe.
Thanks for sharing.
Yeah.
Science, we follow the 5E model, which really engages students first, helps them explore, explain it, extend it, and evaluate it. And this has been a shift in the science curriculum over the last couple of years. I know when I went to school, it was like, these are your science vocabulary words, study the words, um, even if you don't know what they're connected to. Now, for the science one, that engage part really has kids experimenting without the scientific definition so that they could explore it on their own. And then as they're explaining it, they're able to connect it with whatever that vocabulary word is. So it really gets that hands-on part of science and gets the kids out of the textbook. So the 5E model is a wonderful way for our next generation science standards for our students to enjoy it and learn those concepts.
Take myself off mute here. And so I wanted to talk a little bit. Amanda shared earlier when we were looking at that schedule of classes. Um, we have a very, very unique second language program at the school. As our name implies, Staten Island Hebrew Public. So every day from a child's first day of school in kindergarten till the day they graduate, we dedicate one instructional block each day, teaching our students how to read, write, and speak modern Hebrew. So we teach Hebrew using what's called the proficiency-based approach at Staten Island Hebrew Public. It's considered the gold standard for second language acquisition. And frankly, for a lot of kids at our school, it's not even their second language. It might even be like their third or their fourth. And so it's such a wonderful way, and it's completely immersive to learning the language. So even on a student's first day of school at Staten Island Hebrew Public, during those Hebrew blocks, you won't hear our teachers speaking any English to the students. It's completely immersive. And because it's taught that way, it's really focused on speaking and comprehension. And as time goes on, we will begin building out reading and writing. But I always like to tell families, it's not like rote memorization, which is like how I learned Spanish when I was in elementary school. It's not like that at all. It's through games, it's through fun, it's through songs, it's through dance, it's through play, it's through repetition of language. And because it's taught that way, it makes it very fun for the kids. And it's very, very exciting to see them go from having, and frankly, not many of our kids have many connections to speaking Hebrew at home, but to see them go from no Hebrew or very, very little to just see it build out as the school year goes on, it's really incredible to see. And even after a month of school, students are going to begin having meaningful conversations. They're going to be building comprehension. And as the year goes on, it's really exciting to see. And so I think we have a video coming up here next that really exemplifies some of the cornerstones of that proficiency-based approach and what teaching it looks like. So hopefully I can get it to play on the first try here, and we'll kind of debrief about it in a second.
מספר 2, אחד, לא אמרתי מילת הקסם קקטוס, אחד על כחול ושתיים על כתום, קקטוס.
So that's a really quick video, but I love showing it at the open houses because I think it's such a great example of some of the cornerstones of that proficiency-based approach. So the first thing that you probably noticed was that the teacher at the front of the classroom wasn't using any English, but what you may have noticed is she was giving directions, and while she was giving directions, she was giving hand movements. She was repeating the directions multiple times. And these are really great examples of kind of what that proficiency-based approach looks like, how we get students moving in the classroom. And so again, it's through a lot of fun, it's through songs, it's through dance, it's through play, it's through body movement. And it's just a really unique program. So if the idea of second language programming or second language instruction is something that's of interest to your family, like again, I think you're really, really going to fall in love with the school. So that's a little bit of the Hebrew programming. And we would love for you to come in for a school tour to see more of that. So, and I'm going to turn it back over to Amanda because now we're going to talk about some of the student support services that we offer at Staten Island Hebrew Public.
Great. So as Roger opened up with the application process regarding qualifications for the year your child was born, we accept all of the students. And I say that because many of you might have students who have an individualized education plan or an IEP and have questions about what services are met at the school. So we do accept students who have IEPs or need extra support. And here we provide the integrated co-teaching model, which is an ICT classroom, where there'll typically be two teachers in the classroom with about 25 students to 27 students. If your child receives speech therapy, occupational therapy, OT, PT, again, that is offered on site, pending that we have a provider come in and support your child. Paraprofessionals as needed. We do have paras in our school, medical, behavioral as well. Counseling is provided if it is on your child's IEP. And if your child is identified as an ELL, an English language learner, or MLL, a multi-language learner, those services are also provided. I also want to highlight that our teachers are trained to differentiate for all of our students so that we are meeting your child where they are, whether they are below grade level, on grade level, or excelling. We want to make sure that we make our own individualized plan for your child as well. After school. So while our school day ends at 3:30, Monday through Thursday, we do offer after school at the school from 3:30 to 6 p.m. Monday through Thursday. So your child would stay on campus, stay in the building, and you would be able to pick them up from our school. On Fridays, we partner with the JCC of Staten Island, and at 1 o'clock, we bus the students over to the JCC Center. Still available till 6 p.m., but your pickup location would be different from your child's, as although we dismiss at 1, we do have all of our staff participate in professional development until 3:30. So the teachers are staying weekly to continue working for your children and making sure we are ready with lesson plans and supports needed, and the children are bused to the JCC.
I would also jump in. I know we're going to talk about bus service in a second, but just as a reminder, if your children end up participating in the after school program Monday through Thursday on site at school or at the JCC on Fridays, it's important to remember that there is no bus service home after the after school program ends, so parents are responsible for pickup at that time.
Thank you. Thank you. That is very important. Transportation. So, Yellow Bus is offered, and if you go to our website, you will see the current routes that we offer around the island. We go near and far from where we are located. Um, Bus eligibility from the DOE OPT is provided from the DOE OPT, meaning the bus drivers do not work for our school. They are contracted with us from the Department of Ed OPT. And that really goes based on eligibility of how far you are from the school, down to your mile. And that would depend on your eligibility. We try and meet families as much as we can, but if you are even a tenth a mile away or off the chart from where it is on the system, we cannot go in and manually change that. But please take a look at the website. Again, the routes will show you how far we are able to provide some private as well. These were just some pictures as well of some events that we have. Assemblies to celebrate our students' success, spirit days, as you could see our teachers dressed up as the crayons. Roger mentioned the Festashir celebration we had. We give out awards for students who demonstrate our Olam values and are actually preparing for our end of year celebrations. Our families, we welcome them in our building many times a year. We actually just had our Scholastic Book Fair last week, and we had our parents come in and they were able to shop in the morning, offered some coffee and bagels to them, so they were able to pick up some books for their kiddos.
So we are making our way towards the end of the curriculum overview and school overview, but we wanted to go over some of the commonly asked questions, and then we'll talk a little bit more about the school lottery as well. So we know we get lots of questions about class sizes and teachers and teachers in the classroom and things like that. And so for everybody joining tonight, our expectations for next year in terms of classroom sizes is I would say on the lower end, you should expect about 25 students per classroom. And on the higher end, maybe upwards to 27, 28 students per class. All of our kindergarten classrooms are going to have a two-teacher model. So you're looking at a student to teacher ratio of about 12 or 13 to 1 in those classes. And so when students graduate from kindergarten and transition to first grade, our staffing model looks a little bit different. So we are technically a lead teacher model once students graduate from K. However, there is a caveat. Across all of the grade bands in our school, we will always offer one ICT classroom that Amanda talked about earlier in the presentation. And ICT stands for Integrated Co-Teaching Room, where you have a teacher co-teaching with a special education teacher. And so those classrooms are going to have two teachers at all times as well. And so even in those classrooms that do have that lead teacher model, as Amanda talked about earlier in the presentation, we're really blessed to have a very robust leadership team at the school, and curriculum directors and academic supports, MLL support staff, SETS teachers. And so even in those classrooms with that lead teacher model, it's very, very common to see multiple staff members supporting learning at a given time. And so, again, we do have a very robust staff in that way. And so we also get questions, when are you going to offer grades 4 and 5? And so uh, we are currently K to 3. In September, we will offer grades K to 4. And then the following September, September 2026, will be fully grown K to 5, at which point we'll serve about 350 students. And I'll also say, if you've driven by the school before, you'll notice that right across the street from us is a very similar looking building to our current home. It is our long-term vision, not just to be K through 5, but also to hopefully open middle school as well. And so we are going through the process where we will begin soon officially to apply to grow our charter, not just to serve elementary school, but middle too. So our hope is that by the time your children are in sixth grade, they will be able to stay with us and have a school for sixth, seventh, and eighth grade as well. Um, how much playtime will students have? I'm gonna, if it's okay with you, Amanda, defer to you on that one a little bit. Do you want to share a little bit more about playtime or, recess time, things like that at the school?
Yep. So the students do have physical education. So that's one way that they are getting movement and getting their energy out for sure. They also do have recess time built into their lunch schedule. So they'll eat. We really try and get them to eat, chat less and eat more, quicker so that they can enjoy that movement time. We are fortunate to have a beautiful outdoor space that we're able to use on the nicer days. And we do have a gym built in that when available, we have students there on the days where the weather is not permitting. So they do get to also get their energy out during the recess time there.
And we do have a Department of Health nurse as well who is on site the whole day. And then I don't know if we covered it in the presentation, but for families wondering, we do also offer a free breakfast, lunch, and end of day snack. We work with a really wonderful kosher caterer who delivers meals each day. So we do a grab and go breakfast in the morning, meaning students can take breakfast with them when they walk into the class. And then we also do a hot kosher lunch every day. And so at the beginning of each month, we will share the breakfast, lunch, and snack menus so you can see them. You're more than welcome to bring whatever you want for lunch. Doesn't have to be kosher, whatever works best for your family. And then additionally, we are a nut and seed aware school, meaning we don't serve any nuts or seeds, but if you want to bring them from home, that's okay. We do have students with allergies, though, at the school, so we do have a very strict no food sharing policy for that reason. But again, whatever works best for your family works best for us. And so we have another FAQ here. If my child doesn't speak Hebrew, is that a disadvantage? And the answer is absolutely not. Overwhelmingly, the majority of students that come to our school are not heritage speakers. They don't have any background with modern Hebrew. And so the answer is absolutely not. We meet students where they are, just like our ELA and our math curriculum. It is differentiated to meet the needs of all of our students. And we have a lot of experience with that, and so that is not a problem at all. Um, I wanted to cover, it seems like we are getting some questions starting to come into the chat. So we did get a question about, how many seats are you offering broadly for any of the grades? We did talk a little bit about, having a lottery and if we have more seats or more applications than seats available. And so what I would say is we share all of this data when we hold our lottery. So if you do want to watch it, when we start, we go through everything. What I can tell you right now is roughly we have twice as many applicants as we do seats available. That being said, um, we do our best on the day of the lottery to try to over offer seats in the lottery to some degree. And the reason we do that is because we know, while we hope we are every family's first choice, we know, and we talked about it before, families may apply to multiple schools. And while we hope that we are their first choice, we might be their second or their third. And so, we do try to over offer. And the other thing I would say to that end is, if you don't receive an offer of enrollment on the day of the lottery, you will immediately receive a wait list number. And we do rolling admissions throughout the year. So, as families decline their offers or decide they want to go somewhere else, or we don't hear back from them, we're constantly making new offers. And, I've said this to families for the last few years. If you feel like Staten Island Hebrew Public is the school for your family, our team is going to do everything in our power to help your family find a seat in the school. And so, we will work with you. We will continue moving those wait lists and continue reaching out. So, hopefully that answers that question. We had another question come in about on half days, will there still be after school? And so I will just reshare what Amanda shared earlier is yes. The short answer is yes. On the Fridays, the JCC of Staten Island picks students up at our school at 1 p.m. and they bus them down to the JCC of Staten Island on Manor Road, and the students do after school from 1 to 6 p.m. at the JCC of Staten Island. So it's not on site at the school, it is at the JCC on Manor Road, but that absolutely is an option, and we do 5 days a week of after school. Um, and so, folks, if you do have other questions, we encourage you, feel free to drop them into the chat now. But I am just going to reiterate here as well that our lottery is going to be held next Thursday, April 3rd at 12 p.m. If you would like to come to the school, you can certainly do that to watch the lottery in person. However, it's a lot of just clicking buttons on the computer, so it's not always the most exciting thing to watch as everything has become computerized now. However, you absolutely can also watch it on Zoom. We're going to record it just like we are now live. And then um, when the lottery culminates, you will receive all of the information as soon as we end the lottery. So we click a button, and you will get your offer of enrollment or your waitlist number the second it ends. So it is not mandatory. You don't have to watch it live. You don't have to be there in person, though you are certainly able to if you would like. And again, to the families who are watching right now, if you have not submitted your application yet, we encourage you to do so. Make sure you get it in before that deadline of April 1st because you'll be moved to the bottom of the wait list if you apply after April 1st. And if you just want to triple check with us to make sure that we have your application on file, that everything looks right, I encourage you reach out to us at admissions@hebrewpublic.org. I will follow up with you ASAP to just confirm with you, or if you have any questions or you need any help, we can certainly do that. I will also let families know that we are recording this session this evening. We are going to reshare it out with you before 5 p.m. tomorrow. And in that message that we give you, we are also going to reshare all of the pertinent lottery information and all of the directions for how to accept your offer of enrollment and how to fill out that digital registration packet after we hold the lottery next week. So we'll hang around for 30 more seconds if folks do have questions. But I just want to say thank you again to Dr. Ainley this evening for taking time out of her very busy schedule to be with us to talk more about curriculum. And I want to thank you families for joining us this evening to learn a little bit about the school. We are very, very, very excited to welcome your children to our school community, fingers crossed, for the 2025-26 school year. Yeah, we're very excited. So looks like we don't have any questions, man. I think we did a really good job this evening.
That
Uh,
must be the test. We
it
did a
must
great job.
it must be. So thank you guys again
Everybody.
very
Yep.
much. We hope you have a wonderful evening and we will be in touch. Good night, everybody. Bye bye.
Bye.